playing around with nuclear weapons in videos is fun. There's a visceral joy in blowing things up and a horrifying fascination with things like fireballs, shockwaves, and radiation. And while it does help put our destructive power in perspective, it's not the best way of understanding the real impact of a nuclear explosion. This isn't about silly stacks of TNT or about how bright an explosion is. Nuclear weapons are about you. So we've partnered with the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement to explore what would really happen if a nuclear weapon were detonated in a major city today. Not nuclear war, just one explosion. We begin our story in the middle of downtown in a major city. People are going to work, studying for exams, are lost in their thoughts and daily lives. Right here, a nuclear weapon is detonated and time freezes. The first phase of the explosion happens within less than a second. In a millisecond, a ball of plasma hotter than the sun appears and grows in a fireball to more than 2 kilometers across. Within this ball, everyone is just gone. Think of water dripped onto a very hot pan. A sizzle, and then there's nothing. Most buildings, cars, trees, tacky sculptures, and people, all evaporated. First, the flash, an intense tsunami of light, washes over the city in an instant. If you happen to have your head pointed in the direction of the explosion, it renders you blind for a few hours. The heat of this light produces a thermal pulse, so energetic and hot that it just burns everything as far as 13 kilometers from the detonation site. What this means is that everything in an area of 500 square kilometers that is able to burn starts burning. Plastic, wood, fabric, hair, and skin. If you happen to be in reach of the thermal pulse, one moment you're on your way to work, the next moment you're on fire. Now the second phase begins. It happens in a few seconds. Most people will now first notice that something is wrong, but it's already too late for hundreds of thousands. The flash is followed by the shockwave. The heat and radiation of the fireball create a bubble of superheated and supercompressed air around it that's now expanding explosively. Faster than the speed of sound, creating winds stronger than hurricanes and tornadoes. Human infrastructure is no match for its power. Most major buildings within a kilometer of the fireball are just ground up down to their base. Only steel-reinforced concrete is able to partially resist the pressure. In the surrounding parks where retirees feed the ducks, trees blackened and smoldering from the heat a second before snap like toothpicks. If you're outside, you get tossed away like a grain of dust in a tornado. The shockwave weakens as it travels outwards, but still, about 175 square kilometers of houses collapse like they're made of cards, trapping tens of thousands of people who didn't have any time to react. Gas stations explode and fires spread throughout the rubble. A mushroom cloud made from the remains of the fireball, dust and ash rises kilometers into the sky in the next few minutes and casts a dark shadow over the ruined city. This violently pulls in fresh air surrounding the city, destroying more buildings and providing an abundance of oxygen. It depends on the city what happens next. If there's enough fuel, fires may turn into a firestorm that burns the rubble, everybody trapped in it, and people trying to flee the devastation. Up to 21 kilometers from the explosion, people just like you rush to their windows to take pictures of the mushroom cloud, unaware that the shockwave is still coming at them, about to shatter their windows and create a blizzard of sharp glass. The third phase begins in the coming hours and days. We're used to the idea that help will come no matter the disaster. This time is different. A nuclear explosion is like every natural disaster at once. There are hundreds of thousands or millions of people with serious injuries, lacerations, broken bones, serious burns. In the next few minutes and hours, thousands more will die because of these injuries. Countless people are trapped in collapsed buildings like in earthquakes, or blinded by the flash, deaf from the blast wave, and unable to flee through streets impassable with rubble and debris. They're terrified, confused, and don't know what's happened to them or why. Most likely, many hospitals have been leveled along with all the other buildings, and most medical professionals are either dead or injured along with everyone else. The survivors lucky enough to have been in metro tunnels or standing in the right place to be unburned and unhurt won't have truly escaped harm yet. Depending on the type of weapon, where it explodes, and even the weather, an awful black rain can begin, with radioactive ash and dust descending on the city, covering everything and everyone. The invisible, malicious, silent horror of radiation takes its turn. Every breath carries poison to the lungs of the survivors. Over the coming days, the people who receive the highest doses of radiation exposure will die. There will be no help, not for hours or maybe even days. Civilization doesn't operate when there is a total breakdown of infrastructure. Roads are blocked, train tracks warped, runways cluttered with rubble. No water, no electricity, no communication, no stores to replenish supplies from. Help from surrounding cities will have a hard time entering the disaster zone, and even if they can, the radioactive contamination will make it risky to get too close. After a nuclear attack, you're on your own. So, bit by bit, people emerge from the rubble, on foot, contaminated with radioactive fallout, carrying what little they may have left. They are slow, in pain, traumatized, and they all need food, water, and medical treatment fast. And the damage done by a nuclear weapon doesn't end when the fires burn out and the smoke clears. The hospitals in the neighboring cities are under-equipped for a disaster of this scale and overwhelmed with tens or hundreds of thousands of patients with serious injuries. In the weeks, months, and years to come, many of those who survived will succumb to cancers like leukemia. The reason no government wants you to think about all this is because there is no serious humanitarian response possible to a nuclear explosion. There's no way to really help the immediate victims of a nuclear attack. This is not a hurricane, wildfire, or earthquake, or nuclear accident. It is all of these things at once, but worse. No nation on Earth is prepared to deal with it. The world has changed in the past few years, with world leaders again explicitly and publicly threatening each other with nuclear weapons. Many experts think the danger of a nuclear strike is higher than it has been in decades. Governments tell their citizens that it's good that we have nuclear weapons, but it's bad when anyone else gets them. That it's somehow necessary to threaten others with mass destruction to keep us safe. But does this make you feel safe? It only takes a small group of people with power to go crazy or rogue, a small misstep or a simple misunderstanding to unleash a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Exploding stuff in videos is fun. Exploding things in real life, not so much.
Revelations chapter 6 verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, 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 Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kodash, Barakathum. To the sincere Akim out there that's preaching this word of sincerity and the truth, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. As you can see, the video that started off this lesson was an animated clip, a simulation showing you the devastating effects if a nuclear missile were to explode in a metropolitan area, in a heavy populated city. And the results are very deadly. Mass death, mass destruction. And that's prophecy. That's what the Lord is going to bring to America. Mass death and mass destruction. These nuclear missiles are coming. World War III is coming. There will be a war between Iran and America and Israel. Them false Jews in the land of Israel will draw out America into the Third World War, which is going to lead to America being destroyed off the face of the earth. Because every country, including America's allies, are going to shoot missiles on this place and turn it into a great lake of fire. So this is prophecy. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. Because the scriptures speak about 7 seals. The 7th seal, or the 7th trump, is when the elect and the 1/3 receive salvation from this nuclear destruction. The 6th seal is when a destruction comes, when the nuclear missiles are set off. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Because when these nuclear missiles get shot off, the first thing they're going to do is black out the sky. The whole sky will be covered in what Esau calls the mushroom cloud that comes after the nuclear missiles are detonated. As you've seen in the simulation, it gave an example on what the mushroom clouds would do. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So the Lord is going to shake this fig tree with a mighty wind, which is a metaphor for these missiles are going to rock this earth. This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunken, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So these missiles are going to cause the earth, these nuclear missiles are going to cause the earth to rock back and forth like a drunken man that staggereth in his own vomit. That's how the earth is going to rock. It's going to shake. It's going to be tsunamis taking place, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting. Revelation 6 and 13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And that mighty wind that's going to shake America is that destruction. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. So that destroying wind is talking about them thermonuclear missiles. It represents the destruction that's going to take place in America. Revelation 6 and 13, and the stars shall fall from heaven unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Now you take a scroll and you unroll that scroll, it spreads out. So the prophets will describe the visions that the Heavenly Father gave them in the terms that they knew at the time. So the prophet John described what he seen, which was a mushroom cloud, as a scroll being rolled together. Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, follow us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And that's the time we're in now. The great day of Yahweh Shemawashai's wrath is coming on this earth. The Lord is going to cut wickedness off via thermonuclear destruction. These people are going to be burnt to a crisp, according to biblical prophecy. Isaiah 34 and 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations. So Yahweh Shemawashai's righteous anger is coming upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. The slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. The same example like we read in Revelation the 6th chapter. The Lord is going to shake the tree. And we know that the trees represent the people. So the Lord is going to shake these people up and put them to death via thermonuclear destruction. Isaiah 34:5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Idumea represents Esau, the so-called white man. And the people of his curse, the Edomites. They're cursed with what? Leprosy, a lack of pigmentation. Those are the people of the Lord's curse that these missiles are going to come upon. Isaiah 34:6. The sword of the Lord is filled with the blood. It is made fat with the fatness and with the blood of the lambs and the goats, with the fat of the kidneys and rams. But the Lord have a sacrifice in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Idumea can be substituted for America. The Lord has a great slaughter in the land of America. All the wicked, 2/3 of his people, will partake in that thermonuclear destruction. And these missiles are nothing to play with. Just as you seen the clip that started off this lesson, the scenario of what would happen if a nuclear missile is detonated in a metropolitan area, which the results will be disastrous. And that's just one missile. The Lord said 200 million missiles will rain on America, pursuing the Revelation, the 9th chapter. So every missile that's created on the planet Earth will be used in this third world war. Revelations chapter 18 verse 21. And the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So Yahweh Shema Shai is going to throw down America with brutal force, with brutal violence, because these missiles are the Heavenly Father's army, and he's going to use these nations to do his will by getting into major conflicts, which is going to lead to World War III, which is going to lead to America's destruction. Revelation chapter 17 verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For the Most High hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the word of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So the Most High has put it in these nations' minds to fulfill his will. And his will is to see America destroyed off the face of the earth, for these nuclear missiles to be used. Malachi chapter 4 verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and that day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. So the Lord is going to burn up all the wicked of the earth. Malachi chapter 4 verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. So that's our salvation in the midst of World War III, in the midst of thermonuclear destruction. Yahweh Shai returning back with the chariots of Israel, with the world called UFOs, and delivering his elect, beaming us up in the chariots. And we receiving salvation from this nuclear destruction. It said the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. So Yahweh Shai is coming to heal us, to deliver us, give us new bodies, give us the heart of flesh, make us righteous. Malachi chapter 4 verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves at the stall. Revelation chapter 15 verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. It's talking about the elect and the 1/3 that get the victory, that didn't take the mark of the beast, that didn't go after the philosophies of the so-called white men. They're going to be delivered. and stand in a chariot on a sea of glass and look down and see America on fire and see the reward of the wicked. That's what the Heavenly Father has planned for his elect, to receive salvation. Revelations 15:3, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is coming to bring salvation to the righteous and destruction to the wicked. That's what's coming to America. Thermonuclear destruction. These missiles will be shot off. Revelations chapter 11 verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The scriptures speak about three woes. Woe meaning destruction. The three woes represents three different world wars. World War I, the first woe. World War II, the second woe. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So we in the hour where the Most High is going to put the spirit on these nations to start World War III, which is going to lead to these missiles being shot off. So that clip that started off this lesson, a scenario if, what would happen if the nuclear missiles were shot off? It won't be a scenario, it will be a reality. America's destruction is at hand. It's been prophesied, and all the prophecies of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua will be made manifest on the earth. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rakal Kadash, Shalom.